Good afternoon to all the participants, dear participants. I am audible, sir. Shakti, sir.
Yes, sir. Fine, sir.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. A very good afternoon to all dear participants for today's webinar. I welcome I Pradeep Pava, lecturer PT, CRC Sundarnagar, on the behalf of CRC family. I welcome you all. As we are totally the physio community, physiotherapists are over here on the today webinar web platform. So I again welcome to you all. Just information I want to share with our participants. Dear participants, please don't share your screen. Please switch off your microphones or video off. And in the end, you will get the feedback form. Please fill that form and submit it. Thank you. As we know that our today's webinar theme is evidence-based rehabilitation of knee disorders and disability. As we know that the various conditions of the knees are coming in day-to-day life in our ideal activities, we are suffering from them. The ladies, the gents, especially the osteoarthritic knees, the rheumatoid arthritis, various sports injuries you can see in today's life, the ACL, the PCL ligamentous injuries, and they are really creating the problem to us in daily activities. So keeping in mind all these problems we have with the guidance of our head of department, Dr. Avasthi. So we have chosen this topic, evaluation means evidence-based rehabilitation of knee disorders and disabilities on the special days. I can see the participants are coming slowly and slowly. 53s, I can see the numbers. So participants, please don't share your screen. So keeping in mind the theme, the osteoarthritis and all, we have our key speakers, Dr. Shivangi Pathania, physios, and our Vishesh Saigalji, who has already also joined, the head of department, Dr. Amandeep Singh, Chandigarh University. I can see him also. Now I would like to invite the patron of the today's webinar, Shri Manjeet Saini. I extend my warm welcome and gratitude to Sir and request to Sir to say few words. Under the chair of Manjeet Sir, the CRC Sundarnagar has achieved many new heights and many more to come. A very viable, lovable, the cooperative personality and inspirational personality. Lots of inspiration we get from Sir.
Sir, आप mute हो गए. Please unmute.
Now you
Yes,
can hear, please.
sir.
So I extend my warm welcome to Sir. Sir, please, your
You,
inspirational thoughts, valuable thoughts to start the webinar and to address our chief guest and key resource persons.
thank you, Pradeep ji.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Am I audible,
Yes,
Shakti
sir.
ji?
Sir, right, sir.
I hope I am visible too.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. चलिए बहुत बढ़िया दिन है आज. It's a very good day today, and in fact we are conducting this webinar after a small gap. I can say, if not wrong gap, a small gap of say 2 weeks. शायद हफ्ते दो हफ्ते से हम कोई webinar कर नहीं पाए थे. And today we are really happy to have this webinar, conducting this webinar. In the morning also we had one webinar. Since today we all are celebrating International Day for Persons with Disabilities. हम सब जानते हैं कि आज अंतर्राष्ट्रीय विश्व दिव्यांग दिवस हम मना रहे हैं. हम ही नहीं, पूरा विश्व इसको मना रहा है. जितने संस्थान हैं, चाहे वो कॉम्पोजिट रीजनल सेंटर हो सुंदरनगर में जहां हम काम कर रहे हैं, चाहे और सीआरसीज हों, चाहे नेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट्स हों, एनजीओज हों, हर कोई व्यक्ति जो जिस संस्थान से जुड़ा है, ये हमारा फर्ज बनता है, हमारा एक उत्तरदायित्व बनता है कि हम इस दिन को मनाएं. और क्यों मनाएं? इसलिए कि हम अपने इस दिन को मनाते हुए अपने रोल और रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज को समझें. UNCRPD, यूनाइटेड नेशंस कन्वेंशन फॉर राइट्स ऑफ पर्सन विद डिसेबिलिटीज का जब कन्वेंशन हुआ, बात चली, तो उसमें इंडिया वाज द फर्स्ट सिग्नेटरी। इंडिया वाज द कंट्री जिसने सबसे पहले उस पर हस्ताक्षर किए थे, उस कन्वेंशन पे, उनकी रिकमेंडेशंस में, और जिसके तहत आज हम बात करते हैं राइट टू पर्सन विद डिसेबिलिटीज एक्ट, जो कि 1995 में था, उसके बाद अमेंडेड हुआ, और फिर आज हम देखते हैं 2016 में नया एक्ट आया है, राइट टू पर्सन विद डिसेबिलिटीज एक्ट, जिसमें डिसेबिलिटीज जो पहले 7 हुआ करती थी, अब 21 हो गई है। आज मॉर्निंग के वेबिनार में भी मैं यही बात करने जा रहा था, मैंने ये बात की भी थी कि हम जब आज का दिन मनाते हैं, इंटरनेशनल डे फॉर पर्सन विद डिसेबिलिटीज, तो हम अपने आप को एक याद दिलाते हैं, किस्म की हम याद दिलाते हैं, प्रण लेते हैं कि हमें क्या करना था, हमने क्या किया, हमें क्या करना चाहिए, वेयर वी आर लैकिंग बिहाइंड। काम बहुत है, हमें अपने रोल को, रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज को समझना है। कहाँ 7 डिसेबिलिटीज हुआ करती थी और कहाँ अभी 21 डिसेबिलिटीज होगी, जो हम सब जानते हैं। स्पीच डिसऑर्डर्स, मस्कुलर डिस्ट्रॉफी, पार्किंसंस, न जाने सारी की सारी, लोकोमोटर के अंडर में ले लो उसको, विजुअल, हियरिंग, थी ही। तो शॉर्ट में ये कि हमारे सबके जो काम बढ़ गए हैं, अभी गाइडलाइंस आनी बाकी है, अभी गाइडलाइंस भी क्लियरली नहीं आई है, अभी इनके असेसमेंट के तरीके नहीं निकले हैं, उनके लिए चेकलिस्ट बननी बाकी है। अभी बोर्ड, डिसेबिलिटी बोर्ड्स वालों को भी नहीं ढंग से मालूम है कि किसका सर्टिफिकेट बनना है, किस कैटेगरी के अंदर आएगा। तो इट मे टेक सम टाइम, और ये हम सबको मिलके करना है। तो आज का जो दिन है, हम सुबह से मना रहे हैं, आज का दिन बहुत बढ़िया। और प्रदीप पावर जी, जो हमारे फिजियोथेरेपी डिपार्टमेंट के हेड हैं, ओवरऑल हेड डॉक्टर अवस्थी जी भी हमारे साथ जुड़े हैं। तो प्रदीप जी जो है, ये शुरू से बहुत एनर्जेटिक रहे हैं, इनकी एनर्जी जब से ज्वाइन किया है कम होने को नाम ही नहीं ले रही है। क्यों प्रदीप जी, am I right? And I really feel proud. I really feel proud of having such persons as one of the team members of my center. टीम जब मैं बोलता हूँ TEAM, तो मैं हमेशा बोलता हूँ it's a total effort of all members. That makes, for me at least, for me a word T. तो आज कोविड-19 के चलते हम ये वेबिनार कर रहे हैं, नेशनल सेमिनार है ये, am I right?
Yes, sir. National webinar in collaboration with CU, sir.
बिल्कुल। तो आई एम रियली थैंकफुल टू चंडीगढ़ यूनिवर्सिटी। अभी मैं आ रहा हूँ धीरे धीरे, हमारे चीफ गेस्ट की ओर बढ़ रहा हूँ मैं। तो हम टीचर लोग हैं बेसिकली, आई एम प्रोफेसर इन एजुकेशन। तो एजुकेशन में जब हम लेसन प्लानिंग करते थे, तो पहले हम धीरे धीरे टॉपिक पे आने से पहले धीरे धीरे हम रेलगाड़ी को भगाते हैं, फिर हम डायरेक्ट टॉपिक पे आते हैं। तो अभी धीरे धीरे मैं डॉक्टर अमनदीप की तरफ बढ़ रहा हूँ। आई नो पर्सनली वेरी वेल, हमारे बहुत अच्छे मित्रों में से हैं, इनसे मिले हैं। ही हैज बीन टू माय सेंटर, एम आई राइट? एंड ही इज वेरी वेरी कोऑपरेटिव। तो आज के दिन ऐसा वेबिनार करना, और कोविड-19 को चलो धन्यवाद भी कर देते हैं। जब जीना ही है तो हंस के जीना चाहिए, कि इसके बहाने प्रदीप जी ने इतना अच्छा टॉपिक लिया है, एविडेंस बेस्ड रिहैबिलिटेशन ऑफ नी डिसऑर्डर्स एंड डिसेबिलिटीज, जो 2 दिन चलेगा। और उसमें इतने अच्छे अच्छे हमारे साथ रिसोर्स पर्सन्स, स्पीकर्स जुड़े जा रहे हैं। तो डेफिनेटली बात करते करते 44 हमारे पार्टिसिपेंट्स थे और 146 होने को आगे हैं। दिस शोज द एंथुसियाज्म ऑफ द पार्टिसिपेंट्स। एंड ऑफ कोर्स जब नाम आता है ना अच्छे अच्छे रिसोर्स पर्सन्स का, तो लोग अपने आप खुद ब खुद जुड़ते भी हैं। चलिए प्रदीप जी, आपका धन्यवाद करते हुए मैं चीफ गेस्ट की तरफ बढ़ता हूँ। डॉक्टर अमनदीप जी, आपका मैं हाथ जोड़ के स्वागत करता हूँ और आभार व्यक्त करता हूँ अपनी ओर से, अपने स्टाफ की ओर से। इस वेबिनार को कराने में प्रदीप जी के साथ जुड़े हैं हमारे शक्ति सिंह जी, जुड़े हैं जो हमारे टेक्निकल एक्सपर्ट हैं। तो और जो भी वेबिनार से जुड़े हैं, मैं सबका धन्यवाद करता हूं और आपका स्वागत करता हूं। और धन्यवाद भी पहले करता हूं कि आपने इस वेबिनार में जुड़ने के लिए अपना कीमती समय निकाला। जो लोग नहीं जानते हैं इनको, अब तो सब जानते हैं, मैं इनके बारे में जरूर कुछ बताना चाहूंगा। डॉक्टर अमनदीप सिंह, ही इज प्रेजेंटली प्रोफेसर एंड HOD एट चंडीगढ़ यूनिवर्सिटी, और इनका जो ये मैं देख रहा हूं, उनका बायोडाटा बहुत बड़ा है और इतना इनका एक्सपीरियंस है। ही स्टार्टेड आई सपोज एज ए लेक्चरर एट डॉल्फिन इंस्टीट्यूट देहरादून, और फॉर्चुनेटली देहरादून इज माय बर्थ प्लेस, आई बिलोंग टू देहरादून। तो डॉल्फिन इंस्टीट्यूट मैंने देखा भी है, और जो लोग नहीं जानते हैं मैं बता दूंगा, प्रदीप जी और अमनदीप जी मेरे ख्याल क्लास फेलोज भी रहे हैं किसी वक्त,
Yes, sir.
और दिशा मुड़ जाती है, अपने अपने काम करते हैं। अमनदीप जी आज चंडीगढ़ यूनिवर्सिटी में काम कर रहे हैं, प्रदीप जी सुंदर में काम कर रहे हैं, लेकिन बहुत मेहनती हैं दोनों। मेहनत से ही आदमी उठता है, हमेशा मैं अपने बच्चों को, स्टूडेंट्स को बोलता हूं, मेहनत से ही काम करते रहिए और मेहनत हमेशा उसका कोई ना कोई रंग रूप देके जाती है। तो ही इज प्रेजेंटली प्रोफेसर एंड हेड, इससे पहले लेक्चरर के रूप में रहे देहरादून में। उसके बाद ज्ञान सागर कॉलेज ऑफ फिजियोथेरेपी जो है राजपुरा में, उसमें लेक्चरर कम असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर रहे। मेहनत करी, फिर एसोसिएट प्रोफेसर बने, फिर मेहनत करी, फिर प्रोफेसर बने, फिर मेहनत करी और प्रोफेसर HOD बने। तो हर सीढ़ी जब ऊपर चढ़ते हैं तो पिछला पैर तब उठता है जब दूसरा पैर कहता है मैं आगे बढ़ूंगा। तो दोनों साथ साथ चलते, मेहनत चलती रही, तभी हमारे डॉक्टर अमनदीप जी आज इस मुकाम पे पहुंचे। और दिस इज नॉट द एंड, दिस इज द बिगिनिंग, एंड वी ऑल विश हिम कि ये और आगे बढ़े और इस फील्ड में जितना बेहतर और काम कर सके, ऐसे हम ईश्वर से प्रार्थना करते हैं। इसके अलावा ही हैज बीन अ रेसिपिएंट ऑफ मेनी अवार्ड्स, just to name a few, from AIMS, recipient of significant contribution award for physiotherapy and rehabilitation healthcare from AIMS न्यू दिल्ली। कई साइंटिफिक सेशंस चेयर किए हैं, रिसर्च वर्क किया है, रिसर्च प्रोजेक्ट्स इन द फील्ड ऑफ फिजियोथेरेपी काम किया है। अगर मैं सच शेयर करूं, क्योंकि इसकी रिकॉर्डिंग तो नहीं हो रही प्रदीप जी?
No, sir.
अच्छी बात है। तो मैं सच शेयर करूं, I had started my career as a teacher, lecturer, and then came here in 2001 as assistant professor in special education in the year 20 years back. काफी अरसा काम कर लिया है, 30-32 साल हमने काम कर लिया है, लेकिन मैंने जिंदगी में ये सीखा है कि लर्निंग जो है कभी खत्म होती नहीं है। सुनते थे, अब इस उम्र में आकर हम कई चीजें सीख रहे हैं। जब मैं नया नया इस सेंटर में आया सियासी में, गवर्नमेंट ने सेंटर खोला, कॉम्पोजिट रीजनल सेंटर फॉर पर्सन विद डिसेबिलिटीज, तो इसमें सारी डिसेबिलिटीज को शामिल किया गया। एंड वेयर एज आई वाज वर्किंग अर्लियर एट नेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट फॉर द विजुअली हैंडीकैप्ड, इट्स एपेक्स रिसर्च इंस्टीट्यूट इन द फील्ड ऑफ विजुअल डिसेबिलिटी एट देहरादून, वेयर आई स्टार्टेड माय करियर इन 89। तो हम सिर्फ विजुअल डिसेबिलिटी में मैं काम करता था और मेरी स्पेशलाइजेशन वाज इन लो विजन, जैसे आप फिजियोथेरेपी में, स्पोर्ट्स में करते हैं, और आपकी कई सारी ब्रांचेस होती हैं। तो व्हेन आई जॉइंड इन 2001, आई हैड नेवर हर्ड ऑफ फिजियोथेरेपी, टू बी रियली ऑनेस्ट। और 20 साल पहले इतना इसको लोग जानते भी नहीं थे, लेकिन आज 20 साल बाद मैं बड़ा हैरान नहीं हूं, बड़ा खुश हूं। इट्स वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट एरियाज जब हम बात करते हैं डिसेबिलिटी के, एंड विदाउट द सर्विसेज ऑफ क्वालिफाइड फिजियोथेरेपिस्ट, एक डिसेबिलिटी सेक्टर में एक डिसेबल्ड व्यक्ति को पांव में खड़ा करना बड़ा मुश्किल काम। सो आई सैल्यूट ऑल द फिजियोथेरेपिस्ट कि इन्होंने बहुत बेहतरीन काम किया। एक ऐसी फील्ड है जहां आज हर बच्चा जाना चाहता है। फिजियोथेरेपिस्ट कहें, ऑक्यूपेशनल थेरेपिस्ट कहें, ये ऐसी एरियाज हैं जिनके बिना कोई भी सेंटर चलना मुश्किल है, चल नहीं सकता। आई वोंट टेक मच टाइम, मैं इतना और बताना चाहूंगा कि रिसेंटली हमारी मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ सोशल जस्टिस एम्पावरमेंट ने एक स्कीम के तहत एक प्रोजेक्ट स्टार्ट किया है, अर्ली इंटरवेंशन। अर्ली इंटरवेंशन डिसेबिलिटी में, और 0 to 6 ईयर्स के बच्चों का अर्ली इंटरवेंशन होना बहुत जरूरी है, तभी हम दिव्यांगता को रोक सकते हैं, अगर हम शुरू में ही उसकी पहचान कर सकें और उसका ट्रीटमेंट कर सकें, जिसमें प्रदीप जी बहुत शुरू से हमारे साथ जुड़े हुए हैं, इज फॉरमोस्ट मेंबर ऑफ द टीम ऑल्सो। तो हम देखते हैं कि फिजियोथेरेपी की बहुत डिमांड है और हमारे पास मिलते नहीं है क्वालिफाइड फिजियोथेरेपिस्ट। कई बार शुरू में मिलते ही नहीं थे। वो तो शुक्र है कि प्रदीप जी आए और आज तक हमारे पास टिके रह गए, और he has earned a name for not only for himself but for my center also. तो इसलिए फिजियोथेरेपी की जो फील्ड इसमें आप लोग काम कर रहे हैं, दैट इज अ वेरी वेरी इमर्जिंग फील्ड, और अब तो बहुत आगे निकल चुके हैं, इसमें बहुत एरियाज हैं, बहुत रिसर्च हो रही है। सो कमिंग बैक टू माय पॉइंट, सो आई once again welcome Dr. Amandeep Singh as our chief guest, and I do expect कि वो अपने जो शब्द कहेंगे उससे सभी हमारे जो स्टूडेंट्स, जो हमारे फिजियोथेरेपी के, जैसे मुझे बताया गया था, हमारे कुछ स्टूडेंट्स भी हैं, हमारे कुछ फिजियोथेरेपिस्ट भी हैं जो जॉब कर रहे हैं। आई कैन सी माय कमिंग रिसोर्स पर्सन डॉक्टर शिवांगी हमारे साथ जुड़े हैं सामने, तो इन सबका मैं दिल से स्वागत करता हूँ। विशेष जी भी हमारे साथ जुड़े हैं, उन सबका स्वागत करता हूँ। ये हमारा 2 दिन चलेगा, और इससे पहले कि मैं डॉक्टर अमनदीप जी को रिक्वेस्ट करूं, मैं डॉक्टर शिवांगी और डॉक्टर विशेष, मेरे ख्याल से आज ये 2 हमारे रिसोर्स पर्सन हैं जो यूनिवर्सिटी से ही हैं, एंड मैं इनसे बात करता हूँ, उनके बारे में प्रदीप जी शेयर करेंगे, इनके एक्सपीरियंस के बारे में, इनके बारे में। तो मैं आपका भी स्वागत करता हूँ, डॉक्टर शिवांगी और डॉक्टर विशेष जी। सो कमिंग बैक टू माय चीफ गेस्ट, so I would request Dr. Amandeep ji to be kind enough to grant permission also to start the webinar and say the important words which we all need today, especially about the physiotherapy area also, क्योंकि आपके वेबिनार में हमारे भी कई स्टूडेंट्स जुड़े हैं, हमारी फैकल्टी भी जुड़ी हुई है, कोलैबोरेशन में है, तो हम लोग भी जुड़े हुए हैं, उसके बारे में भी थोड़ा हाईलाइट करते हुए प्लीज डॉक्टर।
Sure. थैंक यू वेरी मच सर, थैंक यू सनी सर। बहुत अच्छा लगा आपको, काफी देर बाद हम मिले हैं सर। मिलिए, आजकल मिलने का तरीका ये हो गया है। रियली सनी सर, I will like to say a few words about you. Like you have been like patron of this webinar, no doubt. बट जिस तरह से मेरी प्रदीप जी से बात होती रहती है, वो ही इज लाइक फुल ऑफ प्रेज फॉर यू कि हाँ सनी सर ने लाइक टेकिंग द सेंटर टू सच ए ग्रेट हाइट्स। डॉक्टर अवस्थी जी है ना, हेड है फिजिकल मेडिसिन रिहेबिलिटेशन के, जो कि ऑर्गेनाइजिंग सेक्रेटरी हैं आज के। देन प्रदीप बाबा जी हैं, आज के कोऑर्डिनेटर हैं हमारे, और चंचल मैम और शक्ति जी, थैंक यू वेरी मच इस इनिशिएटिव के लिए कि आपने हमारे साथ मिलके ये वेबिनार हमें मौका दिया, और हमारे स्टूडेंट्स के लिए बहुत बढ़िया प्लेटफॉर्म रहेगा सर, जो आपके साथ जुड़ना। हम इस जो दोस्ती है, इस चीज को मतलब जो प्रोफेशनल दोस्ती है हमारी सर, उस चीज को और आगे लेके जाना चाहेंगे आपके साथ आगे जाके, ताकि हमारे बच्चे आपके पास विजिट भी करें और आपके पास आके ट्रेनिंग करें, देखें कि जो पर्सन्स विद डिसेबिलिटी का सेंटर है वो उसका मतलब क्या होता है। उससे बढ़िया मतलब सीआरसी सुंदरनगर से बढ़िया मुझे नहीं लगता कि कोई हमारे बच्चों के लिए बेस्ट जगह होगी जो हमारे इतने पास है। और जहां तक आज के टॉपिक का है, मेरी और प्रदीप बाबा जी के साथ काफी डिस्कशन हुई सर कि हम कौन सा टॉपिक रखें जो एक कॉमन इंटरेस्ट का रहे हमारे सभी के लिए, क्योंकि आज की डेट में नो डाउट मतलब सबसे ज्यादा डिसेबिलिटी हम कहेंगे हमारे इस मतलब इंडिया में, वो नी जॉइंट से ज्यादा कोई ही जॉइंट होगा जो अफेक्ट हो रखा है। वो चाहे कोई नॉर्मल पर्सन हो, कोई स्पोर्ट्स पर्सन हो, इसके कई कारण बन गए, बट अभी तक इसका एग्जैक्ट कारण नहीं पता चला। कई बार बहुत ओबीस के भी घुटने ठीक रह जाते हैं, और कई बार एक बहुत फिट बंदे के भी घुटने बहुत ज्यादा इन्वॉल्व हो जाते हैं सर। सो आज का जो टॉपिक हमने इस तरह से प्लान किया है सर कि हम बेसिक से स्टार्ट करके इसकी एडवांस ट्रीटमेंट मेथोडोलॉजी पे लेके जाएंगे। वो ग्रेजुअली क्या एनाटॉमी है उसकी, और उसमें जो मैकेनिक्स कैसे इन्वॉल्व रहेगी के जॉइंट की प्रॉपर मूवमेंट के लिए, और आगे कल का दिन हमने इसके ट्रीटमेंट के लिए एस्पेक्ट से रखा है कि कंजर्वेटिवली हम इसका क्या कर सकते हैं सर। सो मेरे स्पीकर्स रेडी हैं सर आपके साथ इंटरेक्ट करने के लिए और बच्चों को डिलीवर करने के लिए लेक्चर। With these words, I will like to hand over the mic back to Pradeep ji, so that he can start the program formally, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for these kind words. And indeed, we are looking forward for a very good webinar for both the days. और मैं
Thank
बिफोर I'll be with the webinar, मैं साथ जुड़ा रहूंगा.
जी.
लेकिन मैं एक बात जरूर कहना चाहूंगा बिफोर आई लीव, कि प्रदीप से भी कहना चाहूंगा कि हम ऐसे वेबिनार्स कुछ ऐसे प्लान करें सीक्वेंस में, ई सीरीज में. प्रदीप जी जानते हैं, पहले उन्होंने किया भी है, खास तौर से डॉक्टर अमनदीप जी से बात करके बाद में कैसे कुछ अच्छे और टॉपिक्स भी आप सोचें.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल.
कॉमन टॉपिक्स भी हों, जो कॉमन मैन के लिए भी हों, जिसमें आम लोग भी जुड़े तो वो समझ भी लें, समझ भी पाए.
बिल्कुल.
तो ऐसे और भी हमें खुशी मिलेगी कि आगे चलकर अगर आपके साथ, तो विल बी रियली ऑनर्ड फॉर दैट आल्सो.
Our privilege, sir. Thank you.
Thank you once again. Pradeep ji.
Thank you, Manjeet sir, for your blissful words, for your inspirational words to us, for entire physio community to on today's special day. आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करते हैं और साथ में डॉक्टर अमनदीप सिंह जी का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करते हैं जिन्होंने अपना कीमती समय निकाला और आज के इस वेबिनार के लिए सीआरसी और चंडीगढ़ यूनिवर्सिटी के कोलैबोरेशन में हमारे स्टूडेंट्स, हमारे स्टाफ मेंबर जो कि सभी जुड़े हुए हैं, सभी का दिल से दोबारा से मैं हार्दिक स्वागत करता हूं. अपनी पूरी फैकल्टी का, पीएमआर डिपार्टमेंट का, आपकी फैकल्टी का. Now I would like to invite our key speaker, eminent speaker of the day I can see on the web, Dr. Shivangi Pathania जी. वेलकम, आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है मैम. आपका दिल से स्वागत करती है पूरी सीआरसी फैमिली. मैम, आपने अपनी जो एजुकेशन ली आपने सेंट सोल्जर कॉलेज जालंधर से, दैट वाज योर बैचलर ऑफ फिजियोथेरेपी इन ईयर 2010 to 2014, and you have completed your masters of physiotherapy from Lovely Professional University Fagwada and ended it in 2017. Now you are acting as a assistant professor in Chandigarh University since 2017, and you are presently serving your students over there, and you have been already completed your as a academic coordinator and administrative coordinator in Department of Physiotherapy at Chandigarh University. Ma'am, you have earned lots of honors and awards. One of you I want to share with our participants and our faculty also. You have been University Academic, got the University Academic Honor Awards in 2018, standing first in order of merit in MPT Orthopedics. You have got the first prize in brainstorming competition at Youth Vibe Lovely Professional University, Fagwada. So we clap you for your achievements. You have done lots of presentation in many scientific sessions, chair sessions, and your presentation in the conferences. So coming to the point, ma'am, today's our webinar is having the two topics: the anatomy of the knee joint, as Sir Raman sir told me, the knee joint and all discussions and these things. So knee joint is a very complex joint, as everybody having the knee problems either in the youth stage, or you can say young age, or the sports persons, you can say, or in the geriatric population also. And we want to learn, we want to see some richful thoughts, your views about the knee joint, your complexity of the knee joints, how, what is the joint and how the ligaments and all these things. So we want some thing for your our participants. So I invite again, ma'am, for the our first session. Already we are late. So once again, आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है मैम.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pradeep. Thank you so much for your introduction. Beginning with the topic, my today's topic is on the basic anatomical component, which is under the knee joint. I think for treating the patient, for going into the rehabilitation part, the first basic step is to know the anatomy. So today I'll cover that part only, so that to clear the basics. I know the majority of the audience is students from the physiotherapy department. So that's why I choose this anatomical component to make aware students what are the basic, what are the foundation thing which we need to take care. So my screen is visible?
Hi, it's coming, ma'am. Yeah, now it's visible, ma'am.
Okay,
Please
thank you.
make it on slideshow.
Okay. So the topic is anatomical elaboration of knee joint. So first thing which you all know is the knee joint is the synovial joint, and it's a complex joint in a body. It is a modified hinge joint. Okay, so it is compound joint which includes the lateral femorotibial joint, medial femorotibial joint, and femoropatellar joint. Next thing is articulating surfaces. What are the different articulating surfaces in knee joint? So first thing is the tibiofemoral, the medial condyle of the femur, the lateral condyle of the femur, and these are articulating with the tibial condyles. So this is the articulating surface in the tibiofemoral joint. Next comes the patellofemoral joint, the anterior and the distal part of the femur articulating with the patella. So this will form a patellofemoral joint. So this is all about the articulating surfaces, which includes in the knee joint. Next, you can see in this image, this is the image of femur, posterior surface. This is the medial epicondyle and lateral epicondyle. So in between that, there is an intercondylar fossa, lateral condyles, and medial condyles. So this is the posterior aspect of the femur. Next, some of the bony landmarks on the femur as well as on the tibia. Lateral epicondyle, medial epicondyle, because these terminologies are very familiar, because when you are seeing X-ray of the patient or in case of osteoarthritis, you need to take care of these kind of things, like there is a erosion, bony erosion on these components only. Okay, so patellar surface just anterior to the femur, lateral condyle of the femur, medial condyle. Next, the patella, intercondylar eminence, patellar ligament. We'll discuss in detail in the coming slides. Okay. Next, coming to the lower end of the femur, lateral condyle. So it is more powerful in relation to the medial condyle. So when we discuss the lateral condyle, it is the outer or inner in the, and is a very thinner part. So there's a groove below. This is known as the lateral epicondyle, gives the connection to the popliteus muscle. I think you all must be aware about the popliteus muscle. Next, coming to medial condyle, it creates a medial boundary of the intercondylar fossa. It's about 1 centimeter longer than the medial condyle of the femur. After this, coming to the patellar surface of the lower end of the femur, it's a kind of V-shaped structure, saddle shape. The lateral portions are wider and extends to the higher level relation to the in correspondence to the articulating outermost layer of the patella. So mainly it articulates with the patella, how the patella gliding or sliding over this area, particularly the femur. So it creates a V-shaped structure, a V-shaped surface on which the patellar movement will be there. The gliding of the patella will be there. Next, coming to the intercondylar fossa, it's a notch. It is a deep notch. It divides the two condyles posteriorly. It presents medial and lateral wall and the floor. So these are the further detailing, like medial wall of the fossa and the lateral wall of the fossa. And next, further, what are the different attachments over these? So medial wall of the fossa give attachment to the upper end of posterior cruciate ligament. I think this is a very important ligament. You ever heard about it? Because whenever there is a problem, conditions related to the knee, in the surgeries also, they mention that the posterior cruciate ligament is getting injured. Okay, so injury of the posterior cruciate ligament, anterior cruciate ligament, meniscus injury. So these injuries are very common when you heard about the knee injuries or sports injury cases. So these ligament and meniscal injury are very, very common. So medial wall of the fossa give attachment to the posterior cruciate ligament in the anterior inferior part. Next is the lateral wall of the fossa. So lateral wall of the fossa give connection to the upper end of anterior cruciate ligament. So your posterior cruciate ligament give attachment to the medial wall of the fossa, and lateral wall of the fossa give connection to the anterior cruciate ligament. So I think these two ligament connection is clear. Now what are the different things you need to take care of? Like anterior cruciate ligament, it arises from the lateral condyle. Lateral condyle, and posterior cruciate arises from the medial condyle. So with the mnemonic LAMP, you can remember this, because L stands for lateral condyle and A stands for anterior cruciate ligament, and M stands for medial condyle and P stands for posterior cruciate ligament. So LAMP is the mnemonic you can remember with this. Okay, coming to the superior surface of the tibia. So the upper end of the tibia is markedly expanded from side to side. For example, the upper end is included the further components, which I'm going to announce, that the medial condyle, a lateral condyle, and the intercondylar area. So these are the surface, superior surface component. What are the things which includes into the superior component or superior surface of the tibia? Medial condyle, lateral condyle, and intercondylar area. So you can see that clearly in this image also. There is a medial condyle, lateral condyle, and this is the superior articular surface. In between that, you can see that intercondylar area. Here you can see the eminence, the ridge over this both of the condyles. This is the eminence part, but in between that there is the intercondylar area between the medial and lateral condyle. As you can see clearly, I think in this image it will be clear. Intercondylar area or intercondylar region, you can see this. So there's a structure which includes in the knee joint: medial meniscus, lateral meniscus, cruciate ligaments, okay, posterior, as well as the anterior cruciate ligament, okay, patellar ligament, and after that attachment. You can see that the posterior cruciate ligament, I told you that LAMP is a mnemonic. Lateral condyle gives origin to the anterior cruciate ligament, and medial condyle gives origin to the posterior cruciate ligament. So further, there are the structures which includes in the knee joint, that is the posterior attachments. It represent the attachment area of the articulation within medial meniscus, tubercle of the intercondylar eminence, attachment of the anterior cruciate ligament, and anterior attachment of the lateral meniscus. So all the attachments which is shown in this image. This is a real image. You can see that patellar area, medial meniscus, medial tibial condyle, anterior cruciate ligament. So more clarity, you can refer this one. Again, transverse section, front of the knee, ACL, PCL. You can see the direction in this image. It will be clearly mentioned in this ACL, anterior cruciate ligament, how it goes from posterior aspect to anterior, and lateral meniscus, medial meniscus also. And you can see that clearly mentioned the anterior horn of the meniscus. I think you know the division of the meniscus. There is anterior horn, posterior horn, and the lateral meniscus, medial meniscus. Okay, next comes the tibial plateau. The condyles form a flat surface. The upper portion, the condyles, both of the condyles, they form the flat surface, is known as the tibial plateau. The structure actually articulates with the femoral condyles to form a major articulation of the knee joint. Next comes the tibial condyles. The medial condyle, the surface of the medial condyle is oval, and lateral condyle, it is smaller and near the circular position. And make this thing is very clear that medial condyle is oval in shape and lateral condyle is circular in shape. Next is the posterior surface of the patella. So the large articular area is divided mainly by the vertical ridge. There is a vertical ridge, okay, bigger lateral and smaller medial area. The lateral one is a bigger one and the medial portion is a smaller one. Okay, so this is the posterior cruciate ligament arrangement. As you can see that they are making the X kind of structure. Okay, when the both of the cruciate ligament they crosses, they form a X kind of structure. You can see this in this image also. like posterior cruciate ligament and anterior cruciate ligament. They intersect here, just like they forming the X-like structure over here. A transverse ligament, tibial collateral ligament, medial meniscus, lateral meniscus. Okay. Next is the intercondylar area. So it is a rough area, superior surface of the upper end of the tibia, as I showed you over there, that both of the condyles, in between that area, that is known as the intercondylar area. Okay, and it is having two surfaces. The two middle of the intercondylar area is narrow and marked by the elevation. I showed you that in this previous image, that eminence, the elevation between the two condyles, that is known as the intercondylar eminence. This consists of the two tubercle and roughen area. This area is the main site of the attachment of the ligament. So main site for the attachment of the ligament is this portion, and the menisci of the knee joint also. So the tibial intercondylar tubercles fit into the intercondylar fossa of the femur. So it is for the attachment. Intercondylar tubercle will fit into the intercondylar fossa. Next, there is six surfaces, this six structure present over the intercondylar area. So this is the intercondylar area. You can see that the structure, medial meniscus, cruciate ligament, lateral meniscus, again the lateral meniscus, medial meniscus. Further detail is mentioned in this slide, that intercondylar area gives attachment of the six structure. First is anterior horn of the medial meniscus, anterior cruciate ligament, anterior horn of the lateral meniscus. So they divided it into the anterior and posterior horn. I showed you in the previous photograph also. It shows that there is a meniscus and it is divided into two portions. First, we categorize the anterior horn, and second, we categorize as a posterior horn. So next, intercondylar eminence will come. After that, posterior horn of lateral meniscus, posterior horn of medial meniscus. After that, posterior cruciate ligament. Next is a joint capsule. So what consists of a joint capsule? So in joint capsule, it consists of external fibrous layer and a synovial membrane. So our joint capsule is formed by the external fibrous layer along with the synovial membrane. So fibrous layer is very thin kind of, and thickened part is made up of the intrinsic ligament of the knee. It encapsulates the knee joint. At the same time, it making adjustment for the important structures. Okay, so it is attached about 0.5 to 1 centimeter beyond the articular margins. Okay, so these are the joint capsule attachment on femoral side. When we discuss about the femoral component, the joint capsule attachment, it is very deficient anteriorly. Why it is deficient? Because anteriorly there are so many structures like quadriceps femoris, patella, ligamentum patellae, and posteriorly it is attached to the intercondylar line. Laterally it encloses the origin of popliteus muscle. So you can see that why there is a deficient anteriorly, why the joint capsule is deficient on the femoral side, because there are different structures over there, like quadriceps femoris is there, patella is there, and ligamentum patellae is also there. So that is why there's a deficient anteriorly. Next, on the tibial side, anterior it descends along with the margins of condyles. Okay, so tibial tuberosity. Posteriorly, it is attached to the intercondylar ridge, which we discussed in the previous slide, which limits the attachment of posterior cruciate ligament. Okay, because it gives attachment to the ligament also, that is the posterior cruciate ligament. Posterior laterally, there is a gap behind the lateral condyle. Okay, so there is a gap between the joint capsule posteriorly. Why there is a gap? Because there is a space needed for passage of your tendon of popliteus. So popliteus tendon need to passes from the posteriorly, so that is why there is a gap behind that. Okay, so capsule is strengthened by the capsule ligament is weak, but is strengthened by anteriorly by your medial and lateral patellar retinaculum. So patellar retinaculum is a band-like structure. It strengthened the capsule or the capsule strengthening. Capsular ligament actually is a weaker component. Okay, so we need to strengthen them. So how you can add on the strengthening? Anteriorly, there are structures like the patellar retinaculum, which are extension from the vastus medialis and lateralis. So laterally by the iliotibial tract, medially by the expansion of the tendons of the sartorius semimembranous, posteriorly by the oblique popliteal ligament. So these are the structure which provides the support to the knee joint. Because how it supports that? Because it strengthens the knee joint capsules. Okay, so there are some gaps into the capsule of knee joint. Why there is a gap? Because there is the structure which you call as the bursas. So wherever the bursa is, there is a gap. So to compensate that, there is a space that known as the bursa. The capsule has two constant gaps, one for the suprapatellar bursa, another for the exit of tendon of the popliteus. Okay, I told you that posterolaterally there is a passage for the popliteus tendon, so that's why one gap is there and one is for the suprapatellar bursa. So you can see with this image, as you can see that the red dotted lining, that red dotted lining is for the synovial membrane, and a blue dotted line that is for the fibrous layer. So when we call as a joint capsule, it combines both the fibrous layer along with the synovial membrane. Next, you can see that the patellar ligament, LR folds, you can see anterior intercondylar areas is there, intrapatellar synovial fold is there. Okay, so posterior intercondylar area. So everything, the structures is present over there. You can see with this diagram, I just wanted to show you the joint capsule, which includes the synovial membrane, which is with the red dotted line, and a fibrous layer with the blue dotted line. So next comes with the synovial membrane. So what is synovial membrane? So synovial membrane of the knee joint, it lines the capsule except posteriorly, where it reflects forward by the cruciate ligament, forming a common covering for both of the ligaments. So in front, it is absent from the patella. So there is no lining synovial membrane in front of the patella, above the patella. It is prolonged upward 5 centimeter. There are some LR fold also. So median fold, infrapatellar synovial fold, it extends backward from the fat pad and intercondylar fossa. So this is the details about the synovial membrane. So it actually lines your capsules. So in this diagram, you can see that a synovial membrane, infrapatellar fat, above that there's a patellar ligament, below the tibia, and infrapatellar folds. You can clearly see the LR folds in this. Anterior cruciate ligament and posterior cruciate ligament. The arrangement I told you, that's the intersection point is there, so it forms a X-like structure. So you can see clearly in this. And in the right B image, you can see that this is a patella. Above that, there's a prepatellar bursa. Behind that, there's a suprapatellar bursa. And below the patella, you can see that infrapatellar fat. Okay. And above, just front of the infrapatellar fat, you can see that the superficial infrapatellar bursas. So you can see that there are two types of infrapatellar bursas, deep bursa and the superficial bursa. Next are the connecting structures. So what are the different structure? What are the structure is the extracapsular, and what the structures are intracapsular. So extracapsular were the collateral ligaments, either it is a medial or lateral collateral ligaments, ligamentum patellae, oblique popliteal ligament. So these are the extracapsular things. Next are the intracapsular structures or intracapsular connecting structures. So first is the anterior cruciate ligament. Second is the posterior cruciate ligament. Third is the medial meniscus and lateral meniscus. So all the meniscus and cruciate ligaments, they are the intracapsular ligament. Okay, and extracapsular are the medial collateral ligament, lateral collateral ligament, ligamentum patellae, and oblique popliteal ligament. So talking about the cruciate ligament, anterior cruciate ligament and posterior cruciate ligament. So these ligaments are of the two strong round bands that extend from head of the tibia to the intercondylar notch of the femur. So ACL is lateral and PCL is medial. Okay, so as we compare with the size, the PCL is larger, and in comparison of the strength also, the PCL is more stronger than the ACL one. And next, they form the cross arrangements as these are named as. Okay, next moving to the action of the cruciate ligament. So anterior cruciate ligament, it resists the forward movement of the tibia. Posterior cruciate ligament, it resists the backward movement of the tibia on the femur. Now I think you can connect with the diagnosis test, diagnostic test we perform, special test for checking the injury to that particular ligament. Okay, I think you can recall that the anterior cruciate ligament, it resists the forward movement of the tibia. So when we hold the tibia, and I remember that anterior draw test, we hold the tibia and just draw it anteriorly. So we are actually checking the anterior cruciate ligament. Okay, that femur is fixed and we draw the tibia over the femur anteriorly. Okay, so that test we checking for the anterior cruciate ligament. So it is just matching with the action. So you can recall with the action, you can correlate with the diagnostic special test also. So this is the difference between anterior cruciate ligament and posterior cruciate ligament. So it lies outside the synovial cavity, but it inside the joint capsule. Either it is outside the synovial cavity, but it is within the fibrous capsule. Okay, I told you there is a two lining, synovial cavity lining and the fibrous lining. So both of the things that they are lie outside the synovial cavity, but they are falling into the fibrous cavity. So it arises from the anterior intercondylar area of the tibia and passes upward, backward, and laterally to insert on the medial surface of the lateral femoral condyle. So this is about the anterior cruciate ligament. So it arises from the anterior intercondylar area and passes upward, backward, and laterally so that it can insert on the medial surface of the lateral femoral condyle. And in case of the posterior cruciate ligament, it arises from the posterior intercondylar area. Okay, so you can correlate the anterior cruciate ligament, it arises from the anterior intercondylar area, and posterior cruciate, they arises from the posterior intercondylar area. And insertion is on. So I told you that LAM, L for lateral femoral condyle, A for anterior cruciate ligament. So your lateral femoral condyle having the attachment insertion of anterior cruciate ligament, and your medial femoral condyle is having the insertion of your posterior cruciate ligament. Okay. So next comes with the function. I already told you it prevents the forward sliding of the tibia, and in posterior cruciate ligament, it prevents the backward sliding of the tibia on the femur. So along with there's a strengthening is more in posterior cruciate ligament. It is more stronger, and length is also more. Okay. So next comes how the ligament is getting injured. Most of the anterior cruciate ligament may be torn when the knee is in hyperextension. Okay, so it prevents the hyperextension. When you hyperextend the knee, there is chances of your cruciate ligament is getting injured. Okay, so in this diagram again, you can see that the arrangement, anterior cruciate ligament and posterior cruciate ligament, and this is the anterior and posterior. When you draw that, the anterior cruciate ligament prevents the anterior drawing of the tibia over the fixed femur. Next comes the menisci. So these are the flattened crescent-shaped disc structure present inside the knee joint. Okay, so two menisci is there, one medial and one lateral in one knee. Okay, so it's a wedge between the articular surface that I told you, that condyles of the femur and the tibia. Okay, so these menisci are the thick at the periphery. So at the periphery there is a thickened part, and the menisci is thickened. Okay, so one is the medial meniscus and one is the lateral meniscus. Okay, now talking about the borders and the surfaces of the meniscus. Now we talk about the borders. So outer border is thick and convex. Okay, so outer border is very thick and convex, and inner border is thin and concave in shape. Okay, and next is surfaces. The upper surface, the upper one, for example, this is the meniscus. Upper surface is the concave one, and lower surface that articulates with the condylar area or the condyles of the tibia, that is flattened. Okay, so upper surface is concave for the attachment of the condyles of the femur, and the lower surface that is flattened for the attachment over the tibial condyle. So peripheral thick part is the vascular part in the menisci, and the inner part is avascular. So inner part will be take the nourishment from your synovial fluid. So this is the difference, medial meniscus and lateral meniscus. So medial meniscus, C shape, and lateral one, this is the circular one. So medial meniscus, it acts as a cushion and shock absorber. Okay, so it distribute the synovial fluid by the windshield, like viper manner. So you can see the image also, the meniscus. It is concave with the upper surface, and it is flattened at the lower surface. Okay, next comes to the movement of the menisci. So there is as such no any active movement, but yes, menisci, they are having the passive movements. As your femur is moving, as your tibial condyles are moving, it induces a passive movement in the menisci. Okay, so so when you pushed your knee into extension, your menisci is pushed anteriorly, and when you're doing the flexion, menisci are pushed posteriorly. So extracapsular ligament, medial collateral ligament and lateral collateral ligament. So it is a broad band, extends from the medial femoral epicondyle to the medial tibial condyle. So it connects with the femoral epicondyle to the tibial condyle. Okay, so medial one is on the medial side, and lateral is again for the lateral meniscus. It having the attachment or lateral meniscus by the tendon of popliteus muscle, and also from the capsule of the joint. Okay, so it extension is same like lateral femoral epicondyle to the lateral tibial condyle. Okay, so medial, it attaches from the medial femoral epicondyle to the medial tibial condyle. Lateral, they extends from the lateral femoral epicondyle to the lateral tibial condyles. So these are the further tendons like patellar ligament. This is also extracapsular ligament. It is a strong, it is a further continuation of quadriceps femoris tendon, patellar ligament. Arcuate popliteal ligament, it arises from the head of the fibula, and it articulates with the articular capsule. Oblique popliteal ligament, it is expansion of the semimembranous tendon. So these are the ligaments, these are all the muscles, semimembranosus, semitendinosus. Okay. So these are the bursas in the knee joint. Suprapatellar, it is between the quadriceps tendon and the femur. Popliteus, it is between the popliteus tendon and lateral tibial condyle. So next is the ansevic. This is between the pes ansevinus and tibial collateral ligament. Next is the subtendinous. This is the deep to the head of the gastrocnemius muscles. Semimembranous, deep to the tendon of semimembranous muscle. Prepatellar, it is between your skin and patella. Subcutaneous infrapatellar, it is between your skin and the tibia. Deep infrapatellar, it is between the patellar ligament and the tibia. So you can see the image. These are the ligaments. Collateral ligament. So in this, you can see that this is the lateral collateral ligament in the A image, because it attaches to the lateral femoral condyle to the lateral tibial condyle. So tendon of popliteus muscle, you can see that it goes from the posterior to the lateral side. Biceps femoris, iliotibial tract, patellar ligament, you can see that it attaches to the patella to the tibia. So gracious, sartorius, semitendinosus. So this is also further attachment. And the relation you can see in this image, like medial collateral ligament, medial meniscus. So clearly mentioned the menisci. You can see that lateral meniscus and the medial meniscus with the anterior and posterior horn. The anterior horn is having the relation with the anterior cruciate ligament, and you can see that this image shows the relation also. So these all are the muscles like quadriceps femoris. So this is the strong extensor of your knee, semitendinosus. This is the flexor and internal rotator of the knee. Semimembranous, again the flexor and internal rotator of the knee. Gracilis, this is the flexor and internal rotator of the knee. Sartorius, this is the flexor and internal rotator of the knee. Popliteus, flexor and internal rotator of the knee. Tensor fasciae latae, this is a weak extensor when knee is extended. Weak flexor and external rotator of the knee in flexion greater than 30 degree. Gastrocnemius, it is a weak flexor of the knee. Biceps femoris, it is strong flexor and external rotator of the knee. With the correspondence to this you can see that the spinal nerve innervation like quadriceps femoris L2, L3, L4. And semitendinosus L5, S1, S2, semimembranosus L5, S1, S2, same. So gracilis L2, L3 and L4, sartorius L2 and L3, popliteus L4, L5 and S1, tensor fasciae latae L4 and L5, gastrocnemius S1, S2, biceps femoris L5 and S1. The next is the locking and unlocking mechanism, that is also very important, like how your knee is going for the locking and unlocking. Okay, with this bursas I already told you. So for locking and unlocking mechanism, you can see that the locking is a mechanism that allows the knee to remain in the position of full extension. Okay, when you stand up, and you can see that there is no buckling of the knee. Okay, the knee is locked into that particular position. So how the knee is locked into that position? So locking occurs as a result of medial rotation of the femur. So when there is a last stage of extension, there is a medial rotation of your femur. So when your femur is medially rotated, it gets locked. Your knee is getting locked. So locking is produced by your quadriceps femoris muscles. Okay, so quadriceps femoris muscle is responsible for your locking. Unlocking occurs as a result of lateral rotation of the femur during the initial stage of flexion. Okay, so your popliteus muscle is responsible for the unlocking. Next comes the blood supply. So it is supplied by the anastomosis around your knee joint. 5 genicular branches of popliteal artery, femoral artery. Okay, so these tibial artery. So these are the anastomosis surrounding your knee joint, which actually supplies your knee. So blood supply of knee is by these all the branches, like 5 genicular branch of popliteal artery, descending genicular branch of your femoral artery, descending branch of your lateral circumference artery of femoral artery, 2 recurrent branches of your anterior tibial artery, and circumflex fibular branch of posterior tibial artery. Next is the venous system. Venous system by your popliteal and femoral vein. Nerve supply is femoral nerve, sciatic nerve, obturator nerve, saphenous nerve, and peripatellar plexus. Next, talking about lymphatic drainage of the knee joint. So your lymphatic drainage of the knee joint is by your popliteal nodes. So they drain into your inguinal group of the lymph nodes. Next, for stability of knee joint, this is very weak at the stability point because of the articular surface. They are not that much congruent because the tibial condyles, they are smaller, and the femoral condyles, they are larger. So the tibial condyles become very small and shallow to hold that large convex femoral condyle. So for stability of the knee, for maintaining the stability of the knee, these all are the structure which are responsible. Cruciate ligament, they maintain the anterior posterior stability. Collateral ligament, they maintain the side to side stability. Capsular thickening, as noted before, iliotibial tract plays an important role in the stabilizing of the knee. Patellar retinaculum. So these all are the structure which are responsible for the stability of your knee joint. So again, the lateral aspect, what are the different muscles and structures? Biceps femoris, gastrocnemius, iliotibial tract, popliteus. Medial structures, medial aspect, there is the semimembranous, gastrocnemius, pes anserius. So that is all about the structures. Thank you all.
Thank you, Shivangi ma'am, for your detailed and elaborative anatomy of the knee joint. You discussed about the bursas, the structure, the muscular, the compartments, the ACL, the PCL, their attachments and all, and why they are important in our life, especially for the sports person. You discuss about the muscle, the strong extensors of the knee. I was seeing watching one of your pictures starting. You have taken all these pictures from Gray Anatomies,
Yes, Gray's Anatomy.
Gray's Anatomy. So it was a wonderful elaboration by you, ma'am. अपने participants के लिए, for all physios, just a revision for us also. Daily we are going diagnosing the case knee joint and it's coming, and we directly go to the patient and then we diagnose that it is a case of ACL or PCL or could be a meniscus, anything. And detailed anatomy and the elaboration of these anatomical structures is really important for us. So it was a thorough revision for us, ma'am, for our department, for our participants, for your students also. So thank you for enriching us with your valuable thoughts, ma'am. Dr. Shivangi, thank you once again. Thank you, ma'am. Now I would like to invite, one of our next our key speakers. Our participants, कुछ participants जो थे कुछ technical issue की वजह से link नहीं कर पा रहे थे. मैं थोड़ा सा बताना चाहूँगा. There were some technical glitches that maximum number of participants who can accommodate in this Google Meet, I think from today it is 150. Initially it was 250. So इस वजह से कुछ participants हमारे जो हैं वो जुड़ नहीं पा रहे हैं. So sorry for that, for those participants. So now I would like to invite our next key speaker, Dr. विशेष सहगल जी. आपका हार्दिक स्वागत है आज के वेबिनार में. CRC परिवार की ओर से हम सब आपका अभिनंदन करते हैं, आपका स्वागत करते हैं. डॉक्टर विशेष सहगल जी जो कि PhD स्कॉलर हैं और प्रेजेंटली एज ए असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर वर्क कर रहे हैं एट चंडीगढ़ यूनिवर्सिटी स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम 2018 टू टिल डेट. Already you have worked as an assistant professor in Synapse Private Limited in PT department at Chitkara University, sir, and Fortis Hospital in the clinical department from 2017 to 2018, sir. Now, as an assistant professor, already you shared as an assistant professor in Gyan Sagar Medical College also under Dr. I think Amandeep, sir, physiotherapy at Rajpura, Patiala, sir, and in the Sai Institute of Paramedical and Allied Sciences from 2010 to 10. So you have a wonderful and vast experience in the physiotherapy, and you have written lots of books. I think 7 or 8 projects of books you are having under your name, sir. And you have published lots of paper in national and international journals, in Indian Journal of Physiotherapy, International Journal of Medical and Biomedical Studies, and Pramna Research Journal also in the sports ergonomics. So we salute you, sir, and we again welcome you for our next session, which is on the biomechanics of the knee joint. Before diagnosing, it was very important to learn the anatomical features of the knee joint and some biomechanical perspectives of the knee joint, because these are the must. Without these, we can't diagnose our cases, the knee, especially cases, the sports persons or our geriatric population. So today we will disturb you, sir, for 1 hour for your kind services, sir. So Dr. Vishesh Sehgal, please, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Thanks you very much for giving me a platform to express my views on the biomechanics of knee joint. I will also take an opportunity to thank Dr. Amandeep Singh, the Archadia Physiotherapy Department, for giving us this opportunity to express our views on the topic. So I will not take you much of a time and will start with the presentation straightforward. Because when we talk about biomechanics, we talk about biomechanics of a knee joint is a very important component when we talk about. See, its anatomy is the design of the joint which we have got, but how that design will work, that comes in the biomechanics. So when we talk about the biomechanics, I think I'm having a little problem in sharing a PPT, so just give me a minute.
No problem, sir. No problem. Carry on. Take your time. It's visible now, sir.
Okay, sir. Is it visible, sir?
No, earlier it was visible. Not now, sir. Now it is visible. Yeah.
So when we talk about the biomechanics, we talk about the movement of the joint, how the joint is going to move in which direction. So when we talk about the biomechanics, we are talking about the functional movement of the joint. So knee joint is a very important joint when we talk about, because knee joint is the one that plays a very important role. While you stand, you walk, you run, there is lots of weight coming on your knee joint. Is it visible? It is working fine?
Yes, sir. It was visible, but not now.
Shivanki ma'am, can you help me how to share it properly?
Yes, sir. You just go to the presentation.
Yes, ma'am. I'm in the presentation.
After that, you have to share your window. Don't go for the whole screen sharing.
Okay, share the window.
Now it's visible. Now it's visible, sir.
Yes, sir. Just give me a minute, sir. Share screen. So is it visible now?
No, sir. You're sharing your whole screen. So go to the presentation bar. Present now. Click on that.
Is it fine now?
Now it's coming, sir.
Yes,
Now
sir.
it's coming.
Okay, fine. Actually, I come from the old school where PPT means not the PowerPoint presentation. There we means a PPT from the precipitate. So that's why having a little problem in the technology, but I'm learning it really fast. So let's just continue what we were discussing about the knee joint mechanics. So when we talk about the knee joint mechanics, we talk about how the functional shortening and lengthening of the extremity. When we move around, we play a different roles while we stand, while we sit, when we walk, when we run. So that is the different scenario we are talking about when we talk about the biomechanics of the knee joint. The knee joint is a very important joint when we talk about. I think again it stopped, no?
Yeah, it's not visible.
Sir, don't minimize the window of PPT.
Okay.
you have just minimized it. Yes, sir.
Is it fine? So
Yes,
when we
yes.
talk about the knee complex, it play a major role in supporting the body in the dynamic and the static situation. The knee complex is composed of tibiofemoral joint and patellofemoral joint. These are the two important joints that play a very important role in the knee mechanics. So one by one, we are going to discuss about them, what role does they play, and how our body mechanics work. So first, let us discuss about the tibiofemoral joint, a joint formed between the tibia and the femur bone. As we look at the knee joint, we have a one bone coming from the forward, we call it the femur. Another bone at the bottom side, we call it the femur. Together, they make a joint called as the tibia.
Sir, you have muted yourself. Please unmute yourself. Vishesh sir, please unmute yourself, sir. Vishesh sir, please unmute yourself, sir. You have muted yourself. Yes.
Is it fine now?
Now it's fine. Now it's fine. Okay. Carry on, sir. Carry on.
So when we talk about the distal femur, its part is convex in structure, asymmetrical, and having the medial and the lateral condyle. One condyle which is present on the medial side, so it is called as medial. Another present on the lateral side, so it is called as lateral condyle. And on the other hand, when we talk about the tibia, the proximal tibia, it is concave in structure, having asymmetrical, medial and lateral plateau. The plateau is the one on which the condyle of the femur lie down and lays its weight-bearing capacity. The condyles of femur are twice large as the length of tibial condyle, as already explained by Dr. Shivangi in the anatomy. So that's that minimize the what we call about stability factor, but that gives us the mobility factor. So that is the nature of the joint when we talk about that plays a very important role. So another structure that plays a very important role in the knee joint is the menisci. As Dr. Shivangi have already explained about the anatomy, I will just taking a little brief of it. As menisci at the fibrocartilage joint structure present between the knee joint, they act as a cushion in between the knee joint, and these are the menisci. There are two types of menisci. One on the medial side, so we call it a medial menisci. One on the lateral side, so we call it a lateral menisci. They are asymmetric in nature, having two ends, and these two ends are called as horns, and they play a very important role in maintaining the knee joint. So this medial menisci is more fixed and attached to the joint capsule with the medial collateral ligament. So these are less mobile as compared to the lateral meniscus. So we have a more mobility on the lateral side, and that is the reason why the medial menisci is more prone to an injury. Here you can see the diagram. So you can see the C color, red color structure, the surrounding the C color, the semilunar you can see are one present on the medial side, so we call it a medial meniscus. One present on the lateral side, we call it a lateral meniscus. Next, we talk about the functions of menisci. Menisci play a very important role in stability of the knee joint and mobility of the joint. When we talk about the stability, it deepens the articular structure, keep the joint surface tight, and distribute the load so that entire load cannot be on the one structure. It is distributed entire throughout the joint so that the movement can be there without any discomfort and without compromising the stability of the joint. So that is the important function that the menisci play in the knee joint. And when we talk about the mobility, as it acts as a cushion, it reduces the friction between the femur condyles and tibial plateau so that the movement can be smoothly performed at the knee joint. After menisci, let us talk briefly about the joint capsules and the bursae. So when we talk about the joint capsule of the knee joint, it encloses the tibiofemoral and patellofemoral joint. It is large, having lots of ligament, many folds are there present in the knee joint, and these folds are in the deeper, and they form a name, we call them the bursae. And the bursa present above the patella is called as suprapatellar bursa. The bursa present below it, we'll call it infrapatellar. Above it, we'll call it prepatellar. Underneath it, we'll call as the subpopliteal bursa. And there is one more bursa present in the knee joint at the gastrocnemius origin. So that is called as gastrocnemius bursa. So we have these bursas act as a cushion and prevents the knee joint, helps in the mobility, absorb the shocks coming from the joint while we do the weight bearing. So they play a very important role in maintaining the stability of the knee joint. Then comes your ligament. As already you have gone through the anatomy by Dr. Shivangi, she has talked about the anterior cruciate ligament and posterior cruciate ligament forming the S from X-like structure you can see on the knee joint. So what we talk about in mechanics is that anterior cruciate ligament plays a very important role. It extends superiorly and posteriorly in upward direction and in the backward direction and attached to the posterior part of the inner aspect of the lateral condyle of femur. And it plays a very important role in maintaining the stability because it does not let the what we call the femoral the tibia bone to go anteriorly. When the head of a tibia comes anteriorly, the anterior cruciate ligament push it in the backward position and maintain the stability of the joint. So that's why the patient, those who have the anterior cruciate ligament injury, complain of the buckling of knee, that their knee joint is coming anteriorly. So that's the role played by the anterior cruciate ligament. Then we have the posterior cruciate ligament. This ligament extends superiorly, anteriorly to attach to the anterior portion of inner aspect of the medial femoral condyle, and thus it prevents the head of tibia to go in the backward direction and prevent the posterior translation of the joint, and thus maintaining the stability of the joint. Here you can see this diagram showing the injured part of anterior cruciate ligament where it has been completely tear because of the certain twisting movement into the knee joint. After this, we are going to discuss about the medial collateral ligament and lateral collateral ligament. We have the collateral ligament, one present on the medial side, we call it a medial collateral ligament, one present on the lateral side, so we call it a lateral collateral ligament. This ligament extends, when we talk about the medial collateral ligament, it extends from the medial femoral condyle to the medial part of proximal tibia and attached to the medial meniscus, thus maintaining the stability of the knee joint. And on the other hand, the lateral, on the lateral side, so it extends from the lateral femoral condyle to the head of femora. Thus, it is impacting the knee joint and maintaining the stability of the knee joint. Here, let me talk about now the stability of the knee joint. What are the structures that maintain the stability of the knee joint? So first we talk about is the medial stability. The structure which are present on the medial side are medial collateral ligament and semimembranous muscles. So they prevent the knee joint or displacing of the tibia on the medial side by giving the stability to the joint on the medial side. Then we talk about the lateral stability, which is maintained by the lateral collateral ligament and popliteus and IT band. These are the structure present on the lateral side of the knee that prevent the lateral translation of the tibia. And on the anterior stability, we have anterior cruciate ligament, quadriceps muscles, and patella that prevent the anterior translation of the tibia, thus maintaining the anterior stability of the joint. So next we have the posterior stability. On the posterior side, the structure that are present is posterior cruciate, biceps femoris, and popliteus muscle. So they prevent the knee joint going into the backward direction and thus maintaining the posterior stability. Now we talk about the anteromedial, means anterior as well as the medial. That's an important role to play in the knee mechanics when we play a football, so or any other game or any other sports which have a lots of running has to be done. So stability is a very important component. So anterior medial stability is given by a medial collateral ligament and anterior cruciate ligament, along with the quadriceps muscle which are present on that area, quadriceps muscle that comprise of VMO, vastus medius oblique, vastus lateralis, and intermedialis. So that's play a very important role in maintaining the stability. On the other hand, on the anterior lateral side, we have lateral collateral ligament and posterior cruciate ligament that maintain the bone in its proper alignment. Then we talk about the posterior medial. We have their oblique popliteal ligament and semimembranous that play a very important role in maintaining the stability of the joint. Then we talk about the posterior lateral, where we have rickets, popliteal ligament, and popliteus muscles that prevent the posterior and lateral translation of the joint and thus maintaining the stability of the knee joint. So these are the structures that play a very important role in maintaining the knee joint stability. Next we talk about is the anatomical axis. So anatomical axis is the line that here, and they form an angle of 170 to 175 degree. So if we have that angle more or less, then we suffer from any injuries. When we talk about angle is less than 165 degree, so we call that is condition is called as genu valgum or knock knee. And when we talk about angle is more than 180 degree, that is genu varum. So these are the deformity that take place in the knee joint because of the change in this anatomical axis, and that change in the anatomical axis take place due to the weakness of the musculature, due to any injury you can see, or due to any deviation in the bone because of the rickets or any other disorders. So next we talk about is the movements that are present in the knee joint. The movements that take place in the knee joint is the flexion and extension movement that take place in sagittal plane and mediolateral axis. When we talk about rotation movement, it takes place in transverse plane and vertical axis. See, when we talk about knee flexion and extension, the active range of motion we talk is 120 degree. That is the active biomechanical importance we talk about. If the person has a 120 degree, so he can properly do all his ADL's activity of daily living without any problem or without any complications. So these are the active range of motion. Passively, it can extend to 130 degree in the knee joint. So when we are talking about the movements in the knee joint, next movement which we talk about is the rotation movement. So when we talk about the rotation movement, it is not possible in the knee joint in the full extension ligament, because that is the lock position. The knee is already in the lock position in the extension, then there is no possible of the rotation. But when the knee is flexed in 90 degree flexion, a rotation can be possible. A lateral rotation is a 40 degree when the tibia rotates on the lateral side. Medial rotation, when tibia rotates on the medial side, that is 30 degree. So that is only possible when knee is in 90 degree flexion. It is not possible in the full extension, because when the knee is in full extension, the tibial tubercle lock into the intercondylar fossa of the femur, and this is called as the closed back position of the knee joint. Next we talk about is arthrokinematics. So along with the prime movements in the knee joint like flexion, extension, there are few accessory movements that take place in the joint, and these accessory movements are rolling, spinning, and sliding. So when we talk about during flexion from full extension, femoral condyles rolls into an posterior direction with sliding anteriorly. In the first part of flexion, it consists of rolling and spinning. And when we talk about during extension, from full flexion, femoral condyles rolls into anterior direction with sliding posteriorly the backward, and in the last few degrees of extension, it again roll and spin on tibia. So that is the movement, arthrokinematic movement or accessory movement that take place along with the prime movements in the knee joint, because without them, the range of motion is not going to be completed. So that's why they play a very important role in the knee joint mechanics. Next, we talk about the locking and unlocking mechanism of the knee joint. So just give me a minute. Here you can see in the, I am having the bone in my hand. This is the femur we have, and the lower end of this is the tibia. So when we talk about the locking and unlocking mechanism, so what happens in the closed pack position or in the open pack position? So first we are going to discuss about that. In the open kinematic, the tibia is free to move. Tibia is free to move. It can move freely. Locking, so therefore we have to lock the tibia so that the femur can rotate. So in the closed kinematic, femur is free to move, tibia is in the lock position. Opposite is there. when we talk about their mechanics. So rotation has to be take place. So there is one muscle present posteriorly. We have a popliteus muscle here, which is obliquely. So it helps. Locking is take place because of the quadriceps muscle, and unlocking is take place when this popliteal rotates the femur so that the knee is unlocked. So that is what we talk about the locking and unlocking or spring mechanism. Like you have a lock and key, you lock and unlock, isn't it? So that is the locking mechanism we talk about in the knee joint. Next, after the locking and unlocking, now we are going to talk about few injuries that take place in the knee joint before going to the patellofemoral joint. Here you can see in the diagram this red color lesion showing your meniscal injury. This is showing the tear in the meniscal part, and because of that tear mostly take place on the medial side, because most of the weight because of the center of gravity is on the medial side, and that could result a sudden twisting of or any kind of pathology can result into that kind of complications. This diagram showing your genu valgum and genu varum. The middle one is showing your normal. Here you can see in the genu valgum, and on the other hand is the genu varum. Next, we talk about the bursas of the knee. See, there are different bursa. So whenever the bursa get inflamed because of overuse, you can say because of any kind of trauma, so that condition is called as bursitis, means inflammation of bursa. That could be any of the bursa which we have discussed. It could be suprapatellar bursitis. It could be subcutaneous prepatellar bursitis. It could be semimembranous bursitis. Bursa present on the semimembranous is getting inflamed. So depending upon the type of a bursa that is getting inflamed because of the trauma or injury or an overuse. Fine. Next, we talk about the another joint mechanics, that is patellofemoral joint. So patella is the largest sesamoid bone present in the human body. Patella present at the knee joint above the femoral condyle plays a very important role in the movement of the knee joint. So patella is attached to the patellar surface on distal femur. During flexion, from full extension, patella slides in the downward direction and it rests in the intercondylar notch. Intercondylar means the notch present between the condyle in the medial and lateral. In the center, there is a space in between them that is called as a notch. That is called as intercondylar notch. And during flexion, from full extension, patella slides downward and rest in intercondylar notch. And during extension, from full flexion, patella slides upward. So I'm just sharing a diagram with you. I think it will be more clear you from this diagram. Here you can see. You can see the patellar articulation and sliding that take place in the patellofemoral joint. So you can see the patella moves 10 centimeter caudally during full flexion. And maximum contact between the femur and patella take place at 45 degree of flexion. That is very much of importance, that 45 degree, because that 45 degree is important role when we talk about the rehabilitation phase. Initially, that's where we focus in order to get the 45 degree of range of motion so that the patellofemoral joint can move freely. And patella again plays a primary function of the patella is to increase the lever arm of the extensor mechanism, because the quadriceps muscles, as you can see in the diagram, coming from upper thigh region and going over the patella, here you can see increase the lever arm of the extensor mechanism around the knee joint, thus improving the efficacy of the quadriceps contraction, and thus can easily lead to the movement of the joint. So that is the prime function of the patella. That's why patellofemoral joint plays a very important role in the knee joint. Next we talk about is Q angle. The quadriceps angle we call it, the short form is Q angle.
Sir, please unmute yourself. Vishesh sir. Yes.
Q angle is the angle that is formed by the resultant vector of quadriceps and the pull of ligament patella, it is formed by drawing the two lines. One line is drawn from the anterior superior iliac spine to the midpoint of patella. Second, from tibial tubercle to the midpoint of patella. When we draw these two lines, we form an angle, and that angle is called as Q angle. And the normal value of the Q angle is 15 degree. Here, look at this diagram. Here you can see a line coming from the femur and then coming from the tibia, and together they're forming an angle, and that angle is called as Q angle. So this Q angle, when the angle is large, there will be more lateral pull on the patella is increased. So that is the importance of this angle, the significance of this angle that helps in the movement of the knee joint. So that's why we consider about the Q angle. Here now we are going to talk about the condition, different conditions that take place in the patellofemoral joint. So here we have the first and the most important is patella alta. So when we talk about the patella alta, it is the condition, the high riding of the patella is there, the elevation of the patella is there. There is the lateral stress to the patella causing an instability to the joint. So these are the condition of the patient coming to us and they complain that they have a pain on the patella and they feel that their patella is, when you observe them or inspect them, you find that their patella is riding high. So that is because the alteration is there in the position of the patella. Fine. The next condition which we call is after the patellar alta is chondromalacia patella. So that is the softening of an articular cartilage of the patellofemoral joint, and this softening of articular cartilage of patellofemoral joint is called as chondromalacia patella. So in the later stages of fibrillation and thinning of cartilage occurs and the subcondylar bones are exposed, resulting in pain and discomfort. So that is the common condition which find in elderly patients. They complain of the pain while coming from the stairs. So that's all I think I have. And here you can see one more condition, the patella dislocation. Here you can see the dotted line shows you the normal position of the patella, and you can see that patella has been deviated from its position, resulting in patellar dislocation, and thus that will discomfort the patient mobility, and mobility is going to be compromised because the leverage coming of the quadricep tendon is going to be affected. So that's all I have in the biomechanics of knee joint. So anyone having any doubt, any queries?
Participants, I mean, any query from your side? Shay sir, it was a wonderful presentation on the biomechanics. As we know that the biomechanics is basically the coordination of the bones, the muscles, ligaments, and tendons to allow the human movements. And this complex interaction of all these structures allows our knee joint to withstand our tremendous forces during our various normal activities, normal movements like walking and all these areas. So just you have collaborated all the muscles, and you have shown our one of the, I think, the close back position model of the knee joint, which is, I think, the largest and the most complex joint in the human body. And I think the hip and knee joint are the most common. And you have discussed about the tendons, the biomechanical properties of this knee joint. Why it is important? Biomechanics in the daily life, you can see, just to avoid the injuries, just to avoid the ligamentous injuries, to allow the locomotion, to minimize the energy requirements from our muscles, to gain the stability. All these structures makes the biomechanics most, I think, the perfect. So I actually, there was a question from our participants, why the medial meniscus is more prone to injury rather than the lateral meniscus. I don't know the name of that participants. Uh, he has
Uh,
asked why the medial meniscus is more prone to injury as compared to the lateral meniscus. Sir, please,
See,
can you?
when we talk about the center of gravity, the line of gravity that is passing, it is more towards when we say the line of gravity passing through the knee joint, it is behind the patella. And when the weight bearing take place, it is more on the medial side as compared to the lateral side. And that is the reason when we are overusing it and repeatedly giving the pressure on the medial side more, so there will be unequal transfer of weight, and that creates the complication and the problem. Especially it mostly happen in the sports or in the soccer or football. We see when they play, they have to hit the ball, and when they're hitting the ball, they get the counter reaction force. And because of the nature of the sport, they have to run a lot, and sudden twisting movement take place, and that is the reason why this injury is more common.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Because I think the medial meniscus is typically attached to our the tibial collateral ligament, which restricts, I think, its mobility.
Mobility.
And the lateral meniscus on the outer side, you can say it is not attached to our fibular collateral ligament. That is why it is more prone to injury, sir. I think so. And the one of another participants, another question: which cruciate ligament is more commonly torn? Which cruciate ligament is more commonly torn, and what will be the effect of injury to the cruciate ligaments?
See, anterior cruciate ligament is more prone when we talk about the epidemiology, near about 33.9% of the knee injury comparison of the ACL injury. And that is more prone in the sports where we can see when we play football and soccer, the sudden twisting movement, sudden transition of tibia coming to the forward, and that has to be counterbalanced by the ACL ligament. So it gets stretched, and sometimes the force is that much that it can tear the joint or tear the ligament.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's why, because of it is stretched in the hyperextension injuries and all. That is why it is torn, sir. And tibia can be pulled excessively forward of
Excessive
the femur.
femur. So it just
That
tore
was,
come in the forward direction.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And we check it by our anterior drawer sign. That is the diagnosis. That is for our diagnosis purpose. One more question, Vishesh sir. Sorry to disturb you. Why the pain is sometimes referred to the hip joint in case of knee joint problem sometimes, and vice versa? There is a question, I think, why the pain is sometimes referred to the hip joint when there is an injury to the knee joint. This was a question from our participant. I think might be the region of this some femoral and obturator nerve supply, because both these nerve supply from
Yes, sir. Kindly continue, sir.
because the femoral and the obturator nerve, because both supply our hip joint and knee joint. I think this is the most probable answer why pain is sometimes referred to the hip joint if there is an injury or disease in case of knee joint, and vice versa. So participants, I think, got the answer of this question. Thank you, Vishesh sir, for your wonderful presentation regarding the biomechanics of the knee joint. You have elaborated all the details, the closed pack position, the open pack position, the bursae, and all these things. So thank you for today's lecture on this biomechanics. Shivangi ma'am, there was a question from you regarding, I think, the anatomical side. One of our participants asked about what is the housemaid knee. Why it is called housemaid knee, ma'am?
So housemaid knee is related to the bursa's problem. So
Yeah,
it
yeah,
is
yeah.
just because of the irritation of the bursas. So inferior patellar bursa will be get inflamed in this. So when the patella irritation is there, just because they are bending over to the knees for doing the cleaning activities, so the bursa will get irritated. So that is the
Yeah.
reason that there is an inflammation.
Yeah, I think it's the inflammation of subcutaneous prepatellar bursa.
Prepatellar
Why
bursa.
during cleaning activities, when the
Yes,
lady
sir.
sits on the floor and doing
So,
cleaning activities,
yes, sir.
and that's why it is called housemaid's knee.
Housemaid's knee.
And opposite to that, one of the bursa inflammation of that bursa, I think that is called the
Clergyman's
yeah,
knee.
clergyman's knee. I think that is the infrapatellar bursa inflammation, I think
Yes,
so.
sir. There's a
They, yeah, there are lots of bursa around the knee joint, as you were telling
I
in
showed the
your
image also.
your I think there was a suprapatellar bursa, there was a subcutaneous prepatellar bursa. I was watching your picture in one of your bursa slides, and infrapatellar bursa, subcutaneous infrapatellar bursa, the
Yes,
deep
sir.
infrapatellar bursa. Can you
And
show? Can you
superficial.
show? Can you show that slide, ma'am, please?
Vishesh sir, you just have to ended your presentation for that.
Mhm. Yes. Yeah. This was the slide, ma'am.
Yes, sir. So it shows the suprapatellar, prepatellar bursas, deep infrapatellar bursas, subcutaneous, and popliteal bursas.
Yeah. Suprapatellar bursa around the knee. The participants can see the prepatellar bursa that I was talking about. The,
Yes,
you
sir.
can say, inflammation of this prepatellar bursa, that is called the housemaid's
Housemaid's
knee.
knee.
Housemaid's knee. You can see the deep infrapatellar bursa over there, the subcutaneous infrapatellar bursa, and in the posterior side you can see the popliteal bursa, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
So this was a question, and I think one more question I was watching in the site. One was the mechanism that you were telling, that the locking of the knee joint when we are in the standing position or we are in the sitting position. There is sometimes the locking of the knee joint. One of
Yes,
our
sir.
participants was asking what is that unlocking and the locking.
So the locking and unlocking mechanism is basically your knee is getting locked when there is a at the last stage of extension there is a medial rotation of the femur. So when
Yes,
your
ma'am.
femur is medially rotated at the last stage of the extension, that leads to the actually locking of your knee. Okay, and the vice versa, the unlocking, it is during the initial stage of your flexion. There is a lateral rotation of the femur, so that leads to the unlocking. So major muscle, I told you that sometimes there is a weakness of your quadriceps femoris muscle, which doesn't lead to the locking. There is incomplete locking. There's a reason that there is a buckling, the weakness of your knee, and unlocking is not possible sometimes where there is a weakness of your popliteus muscle also. So the major role is quadriceps femoris muscle and the popliteus muscle in this.
Quadriceps femoris and popliteus muscle. Thank you, Shivangi ma'am, and thank you, Vishesh sir, for your presentation. Nice and wonderful presentation, and your answers regarding the queries. Very wonderful answers. Now, uh, our today's session, I think it was up to the 4:30s. Tomorrow, in continuation of this webinar, we will have the knee impairments, disorders, and the disabilities in tomorrow's session. I think it will be by Dr. Archana Chaudhary. And the knee impairments and disabilities are the important, you can say, in limiting. We have to know the impairment first, because these impairments are leading to the disabilities.
Disability.
And on this special day, today's special day of the World International Disability Day, we want to limit these disabilities. How can we limit the disability? That's why we have taken this, especially the knee joint, the knee impairments, the injury in the knee joints. You can see the lots of ladies are having the initial problems of the osteoarthritis at the age of 40, 42, 45, after the postmenopausal age. And this could be the initial impairment at that stage. If If we prevent that impairment in earlier stage, we can limit the disability, like the bowing of the tibia. The typically the ladies having the bowing of the tibias, and especially sometimes in, you can see the youths and our younger generation, they are having the knock knees. They want their admission in the armies, they want their admission in the police administration, but they don't know what is happening with their knees. Because of the knock knees, they are totally out of that admission process. So these are, I think, the impairments that we will cover tomorrow by our key eminent speaker, Dr. Archana Chaudhary ma'am. And another, our lecture on tomorrow's, I think that will be the last session, advanced physiotherapy and rehabilitation technique for knee disorders and disabilities. What are the latest is coming, like arthroplasty, the TKR, or any conservative management in the form of physiotherapy or the surgical management. So participants, आप कल तक हमारे साथ जुड़े रहेंगे। आपका दोबारा से स्वागत है, अभिनंदन है। आज के लिए मैं धन्यवाद करता हूं। जाने से पहले सभी पार्टिसिपेंट्स, आपके शायद स्क्रीन पर फीडबैक फॉर्म आ गया है, प्लीज उसे आप fill कर दीजिए। feedback form is must for you and us also. Feedback form you can see in the chat box. Please fill your feedback before leaving the webinar. Once again, I thank you, the patron Manjeet sir, their wonderful wordings, the blessing to us on this special day occasion, on this special occasion, the World Disability Day. आप सबको बधाइयाँ। मैं हार्दिक धन्यवाद करता हूँ हेड ऑफ डिपार्टमेंट डॉक्टर राकेश अवस्थी जी का, जो कि इस वेबिनार के आज के और हमारे ऑर्गेनाइजिंग सेक्रेटरी हैं। अमन सर, जो कि कुछ विशेष काम से, मीटिंग से जिन्हें जाना पड़ गया है, मैं उनका हार्दिक धन्यवाद करता हूं जुड़ने के लिए। और हमारे की स्पीकर्स शिवांगी मैम और हमारे विशेष सर, थैंक यू सर फॉर ज्वाइनिंग विद अस। एंड इन द लास्ट, our faculty and our staff members, CRCs and Chandigarh University other faculty members, Dr. Nikhil, मैं क्या देख सकता हूँ सर आपको, आपका भी बहुत धन्यवाद जुड़ने के लिए, एंड अर्चना मैम। एंड इन द लास्ट, our ICT लैब मैनेजर मिस्टर शक्ति जी, जिनके कोऑर्डिनेशन से आज ये पॉसिबल हो पा रहा है। थैंक यू शक्ति जी फॉर योर कोऑपरेशन। सो थैंक यू आज के लिए, वेबिनार के लिए। थैंक यू सो मच। थैंक यू मैम। थैंक यू विशेष सर।
Thank you, sir.
थैंक यू।
Thank you, sir.
थैंक यू।
Thank you, sir.
थैंक यू।
Thank you, sir.
थैंक यू मैम। थैंक यू। थैंक यू। प्लीज fill the feedback form, मैम, प्लीज fill।